everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the happiest hour on earth. Tonight is the last episode in our best of series. We have had a lot of friends and family and friends of friends that have been going to the parks for the first time recently. And so we thought it was a good time to just kind of give our best tips and tricks for the parks and our best ofs. Tonight we are talking about the resorts. So we're going to talk about both Disneyland and Disney World, so both coasts, and we're really excited to dive into this one. Before we get started on our topic, though, we just want to thank you guys so much for following us along on our journey. It's just been such an amazing time having this show, and we have loved connecting with all of you. So if you are listening on YouTube, we would love it if you could hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening on the podcasting platforms, if you could just follow. Those simple clicks really help our show out a lot. So we would really appreciate it. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's topic.
All right, so before we get into the topic, we had to make another Disney snack. Last week we made these amazing chocolate hazelnut Pop-Tarts from Toy Story Land in Hollywood Studios, and they were so amazing. Good. We gave them to our friends and family. They just love them so much. And so tonight we were going to do another drink, but we were kind of feeling snack again.
We're on a snack hype now.
Yeah. And I think we'll do a few more. We'll do another drink. We are going to be making soon the Nautilus from the Polynesian, which will be really, really fun. Mm-hmm. But yeah, tonight was another snack night.
We had to do another snack, and we did sweet last week, so we did savory this week.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't done a savory snack in a while.
Yeah, seriously. Time. So these are the loaded, if you could see them, if you're watching on YouTube, these are the loaded buffalo chicken tots from the Friar's Nook, I believe it's called, in Magic Kingdom, which is based off of Robin Hood, actually. The restaurant is.
I had no idea.
And yeah, same. And
it makes sense though. Friar.
It does, yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Friar Tuck, the coolest little friar in the world. Yeah, he's so great. So what is he, like a mole or like a?
Yeah,
He's like one of those little rodent guys. He's cool. But anyways, yeah. So these. A lot of people have talked about them, and like we've talked about before, we've only gone to Disney World once because Disneyland is our home park, but a lot of people have talked about these. Apparently right now at the Friar's Nook, these aren't on the menu, but hopefully they come back soon.
Yeah.
Because everyone loves these, but with that, there's also, if Emily kind of makes a face, she's not a big blue cheese fan, and it does come with some blue cheese crumbles.
I tried to intentionally make it so that the blue cheese is on his half.
Yeah. I'll definitely enjoy the blue cheese.
I hope to not get any in my bites, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could probably ask for it without the blue cheese if you're in the park. If you're following along in our recipe for a reel, just take out the blue cheese if you're not about that cheese life.
That mold life.
Yeah, that moldy cheese life. I'm sorry. I'm about it, and I'm ready to dig in.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's try it. I'm ready to go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's so good.
I love that.
That is really good.
It has been a few minutes since we made this and since we started our show, so it isn't
cool.
the warmest thing in the world, but if I got this in the park and it was
tasty.
fresh out of the oven, oh man.
Oh man, those flavors go together so well. All right, that was delicious. Those are so good. So we're gonna have a reel coming out for those on our Instagram later this week. And if you want to have them in the park, they're found at Friar's Nook.
Not currently, but hopefully I'll be back.
Maybe soon. Hopefully.
But just make them at home. It's so easy. This was such an easy recipe.
It was.
I love it.
Super good.
Do this, watch a Disney movie. And you're
Robin Hood, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that works perfect.
All right, so we're going to jump into the resorts. So we are starting on our side of things, the West Coast. So we're going to start with the Disneyland Hotel. So we just want to kind of talk about some of the perks of a lot of these resorts. So starting with the Disneyland Hotel, theming wise, definitely high up there on the list because it's just very quintessential Disney. I think there's a tower for each land, right?
Well, so I think there's 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're building a new one. And so I think it's not every single land, but yeah, there's Adventureland, Fantasyland, I think Frontierland.
I think so.
And then one other one.
Some of the main ones.
Yeah.
And they are so perfectly themed. I mean, we've stayed there one time before, and it was amazing. It was a while ago, so it's like kind of fuzzy in my memory. But we've been in the vicinity enough times and like gone into like use restrooms at one tower or another, and they're just so amazing. Like such amazing Disney theming, the music inside, just the decor. It's so incredible. So we love the Disneyland Hotel. I want to stay again a lot. Hopefully we'll make that happen at some point. Location wise, it's great because it is easily walkable to the parks. Right at the end of downtown Disney. If you've been to downtown Disney, you kind of know like where it begins and ends. So it's all the way at the end. You can also walk into downtown Disney and then take the monorail into the park if you want, which makes it even easier. If you don't want to walk all the way to the end of downtown Disney, but great location. Also, it's where Trader Sam's is found, which we love, and the Tangaroa Terrace, which is like the restaurant portion of that area. We love both of those. So big perk of staying at not even, you can go if you're not staying there, but it's nice to just kind of have it right there on property.
Yeah.
So love the Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah, and they have a fun pool there too. I mean, the difference that you'll see as we're talking about Disneyland and Disney World, Disneyland has 3 resorts, and then a lot of good neighbor hotels that are just right on the street. And some good neighbor hotels are even shorter walks to the parks than the Disney hotels. So it's such a different feel than Disney World, but
yeah.
Disneyland Hotel is really fun because you do get to walk through downtown Disney. So you kind of get that like lead up and then you're at the parks. And that only takes maybe like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
10-minute walk. And then you're there. And then like you said, monorail, that brings you into Tomorrowland. And then you can start your day that way too. But Disneyland Hotel is really, really fun. Love the theming. Updated rooms like maybe 10 years ago or something like that. So I think it was about that timeline. And we just loved our stay there. I stayed there when I was a kid too and loved it. But next up on our list, we have the Grand Californian. And I mean, this is where Disneyland Hotel is kind of they're all expensive. All the Disneyland resorts, there's no real value option.
Yeah.
Disneyland Hotel is going to be like the mid tier out of all these. The Grand Californian is going to be your top tier.
Highest, yeah.
This is because you walk straight into California Adventure. And then if you were to walk into Disneyland, you're even closer to Disneyland than the Disneyland Hotel. Now, this has a very luxurious cabin feel. I mean, awesome
So
lobby.
beautiful. Oh
So
my
cool.
gosh.
Great dining. The Hearthstone Lounge, great, lounge with great drinks. Amazing pool. They have a poolside bar now.
A spa.
Yeah, a spa. So much.
Lots
and just the
to
fact that you
offer.
could walk downstairs and walk into California Adventure is just a huge plus. But
Yeah.
this this is going to be your high-end resort. I stayed here a couple times as a kid. Loved it. We also got recommendations from our Instagram followers, Darling of Disney, who we love and we've had on the show before. We love you, Ashley.
So
and
great.
Jordan the Swan. Also, go follow them both. Jordan has been so great and such a great encouraging supporter ever since we started the show. And so love both of them. So thank you for giving those recommendations for sure.
For sure. Yeah, Grand Californian is a beautiful spot, man.
It's the vibe.
It's like, oh my gosh. It's hard to explain. You just have to see it. It's so beautiful. And I think it is hugely themed inside after like the Ahwahnee Hotel in Yosemite. If you've ever seen that hotel, you probably can kind of feel the similar vibes. It's very ornate, but also very like cabin feel. It's
Nature, yeah.
so beautiful. So it's on my list
Fits
to
it
stay there.
perfectly.
It's gotta happen.
I know.
We'll do it.
We've been together for over 10 years and we still haven't. Sorry.
It's, you know what? It is a big chunk of money. And
It is.
for For some people, that's not as much an issue.
I was working
but
towards that ring, not the Great California,
Yeah.
you know.
But we'll make it happen one day.
Oh, for sure.
When we're rolling in the Dale.
Oh, yeah. We'll roll it soon.
So next we're going to talk about the Paradise Pier Hotel, which actually is going to be transitioning to a Pixar theme, which makes sense due to Paradise Pier turning into Pixar Pier. I kind of was wondering when this was going to happen, and we recently got the announcement that it is in transition to be Pixar themed. So it's pretty exciting. I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Same.
Because I've just been kind of like meh about
We've
the
actually
hotel.
like never walked into that.
Never
hotel.
been there, yeah, because it is, I think, the furthest from the park entrance
It's
of
like-
all the resorts.
So if you take the Disneyland Hotel, which is at the end of downtown Disney, you're gonna go like one more block back, and then that's kind of like the Paradise
Okay.
Pier Hotel.
I feel
it's
like
kind
I've
of-
never actually seen like where it's located.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, I
we
have.
drive past it when we're going to the parking lot.
Yeah.
But we've never been in it because, like, why?
There's
would
nothing.
we go?
Yeah, there's not as much like to do as opposed to the Grand California and the Disneyland Hotel. It's kind of mainly just the hotel itself.
Yeah, and this is gonna be the cheapest option.
It is.
but it's still
Out of all
expensive.
three, yeah, it's still a good chunk. I think it was last time I checked, which was a while ago, but it was like in the 400-ish a night range.
And it varies so much, you know.
Depending
when
on
you're
time
gonna
of
stay.
year, day of the week, like there's a lot. So you just kind of have to check on that in terms of any of those resorts. But yeah, so it's going to be Pixar themed soon, which is exciting. I'm really excited to see how that turns out.
That'll be like the first Pixar themed hotel in
Yeah.
America. I know there is a Toy Story one in Japan,
Oh, there
in
is?
Tokyo. Yeah, there's
I didn't know
it's
that.
really cool. But that kind of separates it from everything else.
Yeah,
which is cool.
yeah, it's going to be really cool to see. And, you know, I'm sure that when it is finished, the prices will bump up a little bit more even.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll all prepare for that. But it is cool because they did create a new entrance into California Adventure from this hotel, and it's already open.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool because even though it is like farther away, like they created a new little access point. So
Yeah.
it's helpful.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do to it.
And that, like, I never wanted to, although I did hear that the pool at Paradise Pier Hotel is really cool. I believe it's on, like, it's almost like a rooftop type thing, and you could see the fireworks from there. So I feel like that was a really good perk staying at that hotel. But I never really cared too much to stay at that hotel. But when it is a Pixar hotel, I feel like I would love
totally
to do
go
that,
stay
especially
there.
if it is, you know, a Toy Story section and a Finding Nemo section.
I would love
all
that.
that stuff.
I
It
would
would be
seriously
so much fun.
I feel like it's going to remind me a lot of like probably the art of animation or something, which we will talk about soon.
Oh yeah, just not as much space. I mean,
yeah,
everything's
yeah.
so
Not as much, but like theming wise, it might be similar. We'll see.
definitely.
But that's it in terms of the Disneyland Resort hotels.
Yeah.
There's only the 3. However, Disneyland and Disney World, as he was saying, are very different in terms of what is offered because of space. Disney World has endless resorts. That, I mean, I don't even know. I think
it's like close to 30,
yeah.
which is insane.
That's what I was going to say. I thought it was somewhere around 30. I can't recall the exact number, but there are a lot of resorts and they're all within the Disney property.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. Disneyland, we have a lot less space to work with. So there's the 3. And then there's just a lot of the Good Neighbor hotels, as he mentioned, that are just on the street lining Disneyland.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of options there. This is mainly about the resorts, the Disney resorts, but we just thought we would touch on what your options are if you don't want to pay the big bucks to stay at a Disneyland resort.
Yeah.
So
There
we've
are
stayed at a
lot
handful of these ones.
Yeah, we usually stay on that street harbor because you could get, you could pay a lot less and be even closer to the parks than the actual Disney resorts, which is crazy to think of.
And you don't get the theming as much. I mean, some of them are a little bit themed that way, but it's not obviously like to the same degree.
Yeah.
So you're sacrificing that. But in our eyes, it's pretty worth it because you're saving a lot of money and you're still really close by.
Last time we stayed at a resort that was, over a mile away. I think it was like a mile and a half, but it was really close to the Toy Story parking lot. So what we did, we just like walked across the street, grabbed those free shuttles, and then went into the park. So, there's tips and tricks to do there. When it comes to Good Neighbor hotels, we did get some Instagram followers responding about this. Roxel Lehman. I think I'm saying your name right. Hopefully, you've been such an amazing supporter from the early days as well. So we just want to thank you so much for listening. She said the Holiday Inn is really great, and I don't think we've stayed at the Holiday Inn on Harbor.
I haven't, but I have heard, I think from another friend of ours, that it's a great option as well.
Yeah. And we also heard, we've seen like a lot of other people talk about things. There's like the Hotel Lulu or something that people were talking about. Kind of just like boutique hotel.
Really cool.
That's pretty close to there. But then a lot of Disney accounts, and Howard Johnson, if you're listening, just hit us out now.
Yeah.
A lot of Disney accounts. We have Riley on Main Street, who we've had on our show as well. And a couple other people always talk about Howard Johnson, Hojo. And so that is really close to the parks as well. And from what I've seen, looks really awesome. Really good theming. Also a really nice pool with, I believe, like a little water park
slide,
kind of thing.
yeah. And very close
fun.
to the park. Very accessible to the entrance, which is a huge bonus.
And the great thing is that, like, going Disneyland's, if you're planning a Disneyland trip, they have on the site all the Good Neighbor hotels. So, like, you could kind of flip through them, see which ones are the closest, see which ones are going to be, that you can afford and are still great reviewed. So definitely go check that out. And everything is pretty much within walking or like a short Uber right away.
Yeah.
Unlike Disney World, which we are going to transition to now.
Yes.
And the thing about Disney World is, unlike Disneyland, Disney World, Walt bought so much land, everything's spread out, and they have so much more room to build. And so we're not going to even be talking about any of the non-Disney properties here because, I mean,
we already have enough to cover.
So many, yeah. And we're going to be talking about most of the Disney World resorts. There are some that are strictly villas, mainly villas. But if you have the money to stay at a villa, you're probably not watching this video because you'll just kind of pick the nicest one and go for it. So we're going to talk about just kind of like what each one has to offer. Transportation is a big part of this because Disney World is so big and you want to maximize your time when you're here. So we're going to talk about all of this great stuff and what the resorts have to offer, what the vibes are. And so we're going to break this up into value, moderate, and deluxe. In the value resorts, the lowest prices that you could get are going to be your all-star resorts. So there's all-star music, all-star movies, all-star sports. These are going to be, like I said, the cheapest resorts that you could get on Disney property. Nothing too special. They're themed obviously around music, movies, sports. There's one bus station at each, and they're pretty far from the park. So once you get into that bus, it might make a couple different stops before it gets to the park of your choice. Now, quick tip here: we are going to be talking about the transportation services here, but we also have to let you guys know that you can Uber from any of these resorts to the park. So if you want to pay a little extra but go directly there, great option. There's also the mini. Yeah, we did it the whole time. Yeah, I think we did a couple times on the bus, but there's also the minivan service, which is Disney's Uber pretty much, but they always have car seats
for a
there.
While. I think they've
During
taken
COVID,
it away, and it not too long ago just came back.
And
I know
everyone loves
everybody was
this,
really
so.
excited when it returned. So
I think when
is so nice that they offer that.
When it launched, I think it was like $20 flat fee, which is a lot for one way. But it had car seats. You could pack a whole bunch into it, into the van. But
for strollers and backpacks and all those things, which is so nice.
Yeah, Uber was a lot cheaper than obviously your transportation that is offered by Disney is going to be free. But those are great options if you want to stay at a Disney resort, but you don't want to fork up all the big bucks. Those would be, a great place to stay because you're still on property, which is great. So, but there's nothing too special about them. But do you want to jump into the next one?
Yeah. The next in the value resort options is Pop Century, which we actually stayed at when we were in Disney World in 2018. I loved Pop Century. I thought it was such a fun resort. So basically it's themed around decades. So I guess it's like different areas of the resort are kind of themed around different decades. It's a really fun resort. I actually loved it. We got to stay after they had redone a lot of the rooms.
Yeah.
It was pretty recently renovated. And I loved what they did to it.
So cool.
They
inside.
were super nice. Yeah, very modern. We stayed actually with our friends. So it was all four of us staying in a room, and it didn't feel overly crowded. Yeah. Like we had enough space. It was really nice. And it falls in the value category. I don't think it was too outlandishly expensive. Yeah. So I really loved it. There's really fun pools there. I think they do like movie nights, which is really fun. I don't think we got to partake in that. I wish we would have done it, but cool. Sounds really fun. There's also a Skyliner that can take you to Epcot, to Hollywood Studios, the Riviera Resort, Caribbean Resort. And then there's also buses that can take you, obviously, to the other parks, as we were mentioning. But yes, Pop Century is a great resort. I love it, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and this is going to be your cheapest resort on a Skyline route. So if you do value that, just kind of taking the Skyliner straight to Epcot or Hollywood Studios, this is going to be your cheapest option for that. Next up, the last one in the value resorts. Everyone loves this place, Art of Animation. Very Disney movie inspired. There's Cars, Little Mermaid. I'm trying to think of the other ones, but
so
there's
many.
There's some great ones there. This is a great place for families, and I believe it's mainly family suites, except for the Little Mermaid Tower. I believe the Little Mermaid Tower is just your standard like hotel rooms, but a lot of them. Oh, there's Lion King too. I just got hit with that. But a lot of these are family suites. So because of that, it is going to be the most expensive value resort. But if you need to sprawl out a little bit and have a bigger room because you are going with kids, this would be a great option, and they will love those big old characters that you get to see as you walk around.
I would.
Yeah, right. And as you mentioned, I believe most of these hotels do the movie, like the pool movie nights, which is so cool. So
like
regardless of where you're staying, you're gonna be able to enjoy that. Art of Animation also has a Skyliner route as well. But we've just heard great things. There's Finding Nemo too. Just remember that. Finding Nemo. This actually has the biggest pool I heard at any Disney resort. Like nothing too grand and like, water slides and craziness like that. But the big blue pool, I think it's called, in the Finding Nemo section is actually like the biggest pool for any Disney World resort, which is crazy.
That's
so
awesome.
Look this place up. Looks so fun. And if you do want that little cheaper option, the Little Mermaid Tower, from what I've heard, is going to be a little bit cheaper than the suites that you could get there. But
so fun.
With that, we are bouncing over to the moderate resorts.
Yes, it's time. So I'm going to start us off with Port Orleans Riverside, which is actually somewhere that we got to stay for part of our trip. I think we were there 2 nights, right? It was at the second half of our Disney World stay. We decided to just splurge for a moderate resort for a few of those nights, and it was such a good decision. I loved Port Orleans so much.
Oh, it's good.
It's beautiful. It's theming is just amazing. It's very just romantic and picturesque. And very, very
having that like canal right in the middle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's It's beautiful. It's hard to explain.
Really
I mean, I have photos that I love to look through every now and again from that stay at like sunset. Oh my gosh. It was gorgeous.
That's great.
Such a fun stay. I wish it could have been longer. Really fun pool and pool bar. I remember that.
Yeah.
We did spend some time there, I think on our last day. And that was so much fun. I think there's a couple of pools, if I recall.
Yes, I think there's a pool there, but I think you are allowed to go into the pool at French Quarter as well.
Okay. Yeah, which is just like a walk away. I think we actually did wander over there for dinner or something
Some
one of the
beignets.
nights. Some beignets, yeah. But yeah, Port Orleans Riverside is amazing, and it is very close to Disney Springs. It's not, I don't think, super close to any of the parks.
Not too close, yeah.
But to Disney Springs it is, which is pretty nice too. I mean, I would enjoy being close to Disney Springs.
Yeah.
But it is also on the lower end of price for the moderate resorts.
Yeah.
So,
which is crazy because it feels so nice. Like, it doesn't feel like it's on the lower end.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
That's great.
And I'm glad it is.
Yeah, seriously.
So fun.
Other fun things here, which we didn't do, but our friends that we stayed with did. You could get a horse-drawn carriage to go around Riverside, and I think it actually brings you into French Quarter as well, I believe. But really, really cool. Also, when we stayed here, we stayed at the Royal Guest Rooms, which you pay a little bit extra, but it has like a Princess Tiana theme. Well, there's a little bit of Princess Tiana, but also just everything Disney. It just amps up the Disney, which is really, really fun. We also had a good time here at the River Roost Lounge. It's a lounge here with full bar, and there's this performer called Yeehaw Bob who just like,
he's the best.
He plays like Disney songs and does this whole like one-man performance, and it's just awesome. It's so cool.
Fun and so entertaining.
Yeah.
We sat there for so long just watching him. He was such a fun guy.
Yeah,
I think he's still around over
Bob.
there.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
He's so fun.
Next up, we have Port Orleans French Quarter. And so the cool thing is that it is really close to Riverside. This is a favorite among the Disney community. So we actually got hit up on Instagram by Live, Learn, Dream Magic. And she recommended this place because she just said it was great. But yeah, there's a lot of great things, really cool pool, really great ornate New Orleans feel. If you don't know what the French Quarter is in New Orleans, look it up. It has like the wrought iron fences and like the little gates around each place. Like it just has this really fun old timey vibe. But they have a place there called Scat Cats Club, and they have live jazz there on select nights, which is really great. And this is actually where you could get your Mickey beignets. We went here to get some beignets, but since we already had beignets at Disneyland before, we went for the boozy beignets that you could get here. I think we had like a Kahlua one and like a Irish cream one. Was it like a Bailey's?
There's a couple different options. It was interesting.
Yeah. I think I like regular beignets
I don't
better,
think
but it was a fun little
inside of them. But it was an interesting,
it was a fun little thing.
Having our little syringes of alcohol stuck
that you squeeze into the beignets. Super fun, but so super funny. Beautiful resort. I think it probably must be around the same price range as well.
I think so.
For Riverside, but nice thing is that you could walk to both and you get to experience both. But yeah.
Yeah, great places. Next, we're moving on to Coronado Springs Resort. We had another Instagram follower.
Oh, same
one.
Person, yeah.
Live, Learn, Dream Magic recommended this place. It's very luxurious from what we've heard, but like if you're on a budget, you can probably make it happen. So it's that luxury feel, but not the cost of luxury as much. Yeah. So it's kind of like a Spanish style, Southwest American vibe. We've seen photos of it. It looks beautiful. It's got a lot of cool architecture and this very large pool with a Mayan pyramid, which looks so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
I think the water slide is like from I think it's from the pyramid.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, I think it's from there, and it looks awesome. I want to jump on.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I would love to experience that.
Yeah.
But it is far from the parks. It's not exactly in close proximity, which is a bummer, but you know, Uber's gotcha.
Uber's gotcha for sure.
And another Instagram follower, Summer Bailey, said the Gran Destino Tower is a must. It's a newer tower at the resort, and it has some really nice modern vibes and nice rooms and some great food. So
Yeah.
if we go, I think we're going to have to stay in that tower.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Summer has been a follower for a while too. Such a great person. And she has a podcast as well called Dole Whip Dish with her friend there too. So,
Yeah, so cool.
really, really fun. But yeah, definitely check out Coronado Springs Resort. We've heard great things about this place. So,
sounds so fun.
Definitely a must. Next up on our list, we have the Caribbean Beach Resort. From what we've heard, there's like the best transportation options for a moderate resort. There's 2 different Skyliner stations, which is great. And there's also some specialty room options here, which are like Pirates of the Caribbean themed, which is really fun. I heard though, for like it being a moderate resort, it is a little bit more on the pricey side. So take that, as you will. The pool here looks really, really cool too. It kind of looks like Pirates of the Caribbean, which is really cool. Yeah. But I feel like I haven't heard that much about this resort from like being in the Disney community. A lot of the ones we've just talked about, I think, kind of stand out among the moderate resorts. But definitely one that you should look into if it does fit your budget and fits the vibe that you're looking for.
Yeah, definitely.
This
next,
is a fun one.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about this one. We're going to talk about the cabins at Fort Wilderness. So this sounds like such a blast. I would totally do this because it's like...
This is like if you're staying for like at least 2 weeks. Yeah.
And it's like a camping vibe, but like in nice cabins. It's not like you're like in a tent, like getting all grimy and like doing the real camping thing. Very private. It's very much like off by itself, which if you like that, then this is perfect for you. I would love to do it. It sounds like so much fun to just go and like have a cabin and be like still close to the parks. Yeah. So it is a short boat ride to Magic Kingdom. I think that's probably the closest park to this resort. But it does kind of take a while to get anywhere within the property. Yeah. So a lot of people will rent golf carts to get around. I'm not sure.
Sounds like a fun time, like in and of itself.
Yeah, like, for sure. I would love to do that. Not sure like what cost that entails, but I know that a lot of people, if they're gonna stay at the cabins at Fort Wilderness, they want to like get all their groceries and everything done like ahead of time, get stuff just in the cabin ready for their stay, because it's probably kind of a pain to like transport stuff after you've been there for a while.
And the cool thing about that is they actually allow you to, before you even take your trip, you could pre-order groceries and they'll bring them directly to your cabin. So like before you, nice. Arrive, you'll be there and you'll have, your eggs there, your hot dogs, whatever you want to do, and it'll already be in your cabin, and then you're set for at least part of the trip, which is great.
Sounds like a very nice perk to staying there, because most people probably are not going to want to do that themselves. Yeah. So sounds really nice. But there's also some fun activities that you can do in this resort area, such as the Hoop-de-Doo music review, which sounds like a really fun time. I think they do like...
It's like a fan favorite, for a lot of the Disney people, like a lot of the Disney World people. And I think it was shut down for a while, and then finally was brought back post pandemic. But everyone loves this. It's just like a fun place where you could like have some food, but then also just, I don't know, with everyone else who's staying at the cabins as well, it's kind of like this
feels like
nice,
you're at camp.
Yeah. And these performers put on this show, this sing along kind of deal.
I wonder if it's kind of like a golden horseshoe.
Kind of like golden. It sounds like the golden horseshoe at Disneyland. But everyone like adores this, so you get that in your place, which is great.
Sounds so fun. But there's also horseback riding, canoes, kayaking, all kinds of fun outdoorsy things to do if you're into that. Sounds like a really fun time. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess you would really want to be staying for a while if you're going to stay there, because if you're going to like maybe take break days from the park and just hang out and do activities at the resort, then there's plenty to do. And if you're not going to take time to do that, then it's like almost kind of a waste to stay there because there's so many other fun things to do. And if you're paying the money, you might as well partake in that stuff as well.
Yeah.
There's also rental spaces for RVs or tents, and that is obviously going to be cheaper than staying in the cabins. So that's all within this property that you can.
We were
stay at
actually
one of
looking
those.
at possibly staying there with our friends when we were gonna go to Disney World in 2018, but I didn't want to be stinky and sticky from the Florida heat.
Yeah.
And go, I mean, I'm sure there's showers that you go to, but I was just like, I would like a shower in an actual
Yeah,
hotel.
you just kind of want to be comfortable when you're staying at Disney. Because,
Although you shower, then you walk outside and then you're like, I'm stinky and sticky.
but you at least want to like feel like you cleaned yourself.
Yeah,
once a day.
Yeah, definitely. So this would be, like you said, a great place if you're like wanting that vibe. This would be like, I would stay here for like 2 weeks.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
just kind of like chill. If you're only going for like a short amount of time, you're gonna want a different type of resort, I think, for sure. But with that, should we jump over to the deluxe resorts?
Yes, we have a lot to cover here.
So over at the deluxe resorts, we have one resort that I've been wanting to stay at for such a long time. This is the Animal Kingdom Lodge. We got a couple of Instagram followers recommending this place as well. We got Claire Alden and Darling of Disney. And so this place, I mean, it's really close to Animal Kingdom, obviously. It's a little bit further away from everything else, but it obviously, since it is a deluxe resort, it is going to be expensive, but it is one of the least expensive of the deluxe resorts. But if you're going to the Animal Kingdom Lodge, one of the biggest perks here is that you could rent a room that is overlooking one of the 4 different savannas. I think that's what people usually think about when they are going to the Animal Kingdom Lodge. So obviously you're going to be paying a little bit more, maybe a lot of it more.
Probably a lot more.
You're going to be paying more to get these views, but there's like giraffes, zebras, a lot of
Right
other
outside
animals
your room.
right outside your room. And so if you're staying at the Animal Kingdom, lodge, I would pay a little bit extra to get that full experience. So even though it is one of the cheaper options of the deluxe resorts, you are going to be paying more for those views. That's the vibe you're going for if you're going for the lodge, But also great dining. We've heard so much about Sanaa and Boma that are here. And so really, really cool stuff.
Authentic dining.
Yeah.
For sure.
That fits the vibe just so perfectly. So this is something I would love to do one time. I would love to take our kids there one time. Yeah, I mean, we only have one, but when we have a second, we'll go.
When that time comes.
Yeah, when that time comes. Once they're a little bit older to appreciate the amazingness of live animals outside your room.
That is a goal. That is like a long-term goal for sure.
Yeah.
To go stay there. I want to go to Disneyland again. Disney
so
World.
great.
We're in Disney World again.
Yeah. So next up on our list is the Wilderness Lodge. And so we actually got hit up by another Instagram follower who is the gluten-free Floridian, which sounds great. I mean, we gotta check out some of those
gluten-free
dishes that
options.
she's doing. Yeah, we have to make some of those for sure. But so she recommended this place, and she recommended in particular the Copper Creek rooms, which are the villas and the cabins at this resort. So saw some pictures of those and they look amazing. Obviously those are going to be a little bit more expensive than your standard rooms. But this is kind of like nature vibes, but more like upscale. Look at those photos and the vibes are just on point. But here you could take a boat to Magic Kingdom, which is really, really nice. It's also tied with Animal Kingdom Lodge for the cheapest deluxe resort. So that's great. And one thing that did kind of stand out at this place, and I just like the grand vibes. Like you get these grandiose, like almost like you said, like the Aulani and Yosemite, like that kind of feel.
Yeah.
just very outdoorsy, but also very elegant, right? But one place here that is really cool that I've heard a lot of people talk about is the Storybook Dining at Artist Point with Snow White. And so this is a restaurant that is kind of themed after Snow White, which is amazing.
So
the
cool.
first full-length feature film by the man himself.
Oh, it deserves that.
Yeah, and
For
so
sure.
the characters will come out and everything. And I think like the dining options, like the actual food that you eat, are inspired by the movie as well. So,
so cool.
Looks like a really, really cool resort, and would love to stay there sometime for sure.
Yep, same. We're going to talk about the Polynesian Village next.
Yeah.
Goals. Serious
yeah.
goals. I want to stay here so bad.
I didn't even put them down, but obviously our
yes.
friends, it's Lauren Renee and Philip Rogers _ somewhere in there, did stay here, and they recommended it, obviously.
Yes, they stayed recently and loved it. This place, we got to go, not stay, but we stopped by to have some dinner and drinks when we were there. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is Hawaii mixed with Disney, and it is what dreams are made of. So it is pretty Moana themed, which is amazing because I love Moana. Very tropical and just beautiful. It feels like you're in Hawaii. I love it. There's a lot of great transportation options. There's the boat, the monorail, the bus, or you could walk to Magic Kingdom within about 25 minutes. So that's an option. You can watch the fireworks from the beach there. There's the Ohana restaurant, which I've heard is amazing. I've heard a lot about the Ohana. Sounds like it's right up my alley. Yeah. I love Hawaiian food. So also, of course, Trader Sam's is there, and that is one of our favorite places. So if you're staying at the Polynesian, you have to go. Polynesian is definitely up there in terms of cost. It's not on the lower end, but I think it's very much worth it. It was an opening day resort, which is so amazing. And it's just, it has everything you need or ever could want.
Yeah, it really is just so. I mean, we love the tropical vibes. We stayed at Hawaii. We stayed in Hawaii for our honeymoon, and we love Disney so much. So this like is right up our alley. And yeah, having Trader Sam's just that'd be so dangerous and amazing.
Yeah.
You know? Like for the whole trip, if you do like a whole trip at Poly, like I'd be at Trader Sam's every night.
Totally.
Such a fun bar and lounge if you have not heard us talk about it before, but so much fun. But anyways, next up we have the Grand Floridian. This is going to be like, you guys have heard about the Grand Floridian. This is like the pinnacle of Disney World resorts. This is like where you want to stay for a romantic occasion, whether that's your honeymoon anniversary or whatnot.
Or your wedding. You can also have a wedding
or
there.
Your wedding.
And have a view of the castle.
Yeah. So they have the whole like wedding pavilion there. There's a little like chapel there, and outside the window you get to see that amazing Cinderella castle. Good transportation options, just like the Poly. But also, I mean, just to show you how like elegant this place is, there's a AAA 5-diamond restaurant there, Victoria and Albert's. So like they have, I think you could even get like an 11-course meal, which is crazy. But this is like you are going there for that like romantic occasion. Like I don't know anyone who's like, I'm gonna go to Disney World. We're staying at the Grand Floridian. Like every single time they go, like this is more of a special occasion resort. I would say, if you have the money, I'm sure someone listening to this is like, no, we stay there every single time. What are you talking about? We are obviously not in that category, so we can't do that. But it would have been a great like honeymoon place for sure.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. We watched the sunset from like the Poly looking out at the Floridian, and it was spectacular. It was so beautiful.
Yeah. And the nice thing, guys, like if you want to go to the Grand Floridian, nice thing is that you don't have to be staying at the resort to actually experience a lot of the options. So you can go to Victoria and Albert's if you want. You can go to the beach at some of these resorts. You don't need to stay there to enjoy the amenities, which is great because like we were staying at Pop, I think, when we went to Trader Sam's, which is great because you get to hang out, take the monorail, not I guess to there, but you could just take all the transportation options back to your resort.
Yeah.
So no need to actually
convenient.
stay there to enjoy the amenities.
Yep,
Yeah.
so true, so true. And there's so much to enjoy at each resort. It's so cool that you can like still go to each of them if you're not staying there.
Yeah.
I love it. So we're going to talk about Contemporary next. This one is the closest resort to Magic Kingdom, which is really nice. It's about a half a mile walk. It's a really cool and very unique resort if you haven't seen it. It's been around for a while,
This
though.
was so this and the Poly, I think, were the only opening day
Oh, really?
resorts. Yeah.
I didn't
And
know
then
that.
some other ones were like open a couple months later, which is
Okay.
crazy. But the cool thing about the Contemporary is that the monorail goes legit
Through Yeah.
the hotel. It's a very interesting.
Built
very interesting
so
hotel.
interestingly and uniquely. If you haven't seen it, you should look it up. It's a really cool looking hotel. But the California Grill is there, which I've heard is amazing, and you can watch the fireworks from this restaurant, which would be just such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I would love to get to do that. I've heard great things about California Grill.
Yeah, it's like the best view of the fireworks from any restaurant.
Yeah, because you're
It's
up.
like 15th floor, I think.
15th floor. Yeah. So you were like just about eye level with the fireworks, which is just so cool. You're way up there to get to watch them. So, yeah, it's definitely expensive. I don't know the exact cost, but it's up there. There are some rooms that are currently being transitioned to Incredible theme, which is really cool.
And I was like, as I was writing these notes, it was interesting because like I heard that a lot of the rooms were more like outdated, but they're transitioning it to be more like IP focused, right? Like more Disney theming focused. And I was thinking about it, like the Contemporary almost has like a mid-century kind of feel, but Incredibles totally fits the bill. Like when you're watching the Incredibles, you don't know, like it kind of feels like it was back then, but also there's like technology that's kind of today time. So
there's no
it's very
definitive
ambiguous.
answer for what decade that movie is supposed to be in. It's true.
And
I've tried to figure it out multiple times.
Oh yeah, I still don't know. But I think their goal is to do a lot, or maybe even all the rooms towards that. I don't know if that's actually the case. It would be nice to have some non-themed IP rooms. Obviously, it's going to be very subtle. It's going to be very subtle. But it kind of actually fits the theme of the Contemporary just because it is kind of like mid-century modern in what I've seen of it. So I guess it kind of fits, but kind of an interesting transition. But just like the Poly was not Moana themed for some of the rooms back then, and then they started adding things in.
What's popular and what fits into that.
And it's very subtle
theme.
It's not like Mr. Incredible's like looking at you while you're asleep. It's like very,
like they'll do it tastefully for sure. I'm sure it's gonna be really cool.
Oh, for sure. So Contemporary, definitely a great resort. Obviously expensive, but something that you gotta check out if you have the dough.
They got the big bucks. You can do it.
Also, if you have the big bucks, you want to check out the Boardwalk Inn. We got hit up by Live, Learn, Dream Magic again on Instagram. She said this was amazing. This is kind of the turn of the century Coney Island kind of vibe. But it's right next to, or like right on the boardwalk, which this place has a lot of, the boardwalk has a lot of dining and nightlife. So like if you're going to Disney, not just to experience the parks, but you want to have some fun at night. There's some great bars. I think the Dueling Piano Bar is on the boardwalk, right? Really, really fun stuff. You could also walk to Epcot and Hollywood Studios from the Boardwalk Inn. This also has Skyliner access. The Fantasia Gardens and Fairways Mini Golf is also really close to here. And it is a little bit more on the expensive side of the deluxe, but you do get like you could walk the boardwalk and like have a lot of nightlife. You could, you know, you're
a lot
so
of
close. You could
perks.
walk to Epcot. Like there's a lot of great things. So you're paying for something that, is, includes a lot. So
Yeah, lots of amenities.
really fun looking place.
Yeah, it totally
So-
does look really fun.
Yeah.
So next up, we're going to talk about Yacht Club, which definitely is more on the like swanky side, not so heavily Disney themed, but definitely on the expensive side. Again, very close to Epcot and some Skyliner access, which is really, really nice. So in the Yacht Club, there is a kind of mini like water park called Stormalong Bay, where there's water slides, a lazy river, and just kind of like a fun water park atmosphere, which sounds really fun. Yeah. And then also within the resort, you can rent boats and like go out and go fishing, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
I guess like out on that lake that a lot of the resorts are around, that must be kind of where you can do the fishing.
Yeah.
Sounds really fun. Sounds very expensive, but
I love how there's like different vibes, right? Like
Yeah,
wilderness
so
lounge, if you
many
wanna, like,
different vibes.
camp and stuff like that. I feel like Yacht Club is like the like Salt Life or like the old guy. What's it called? Like old
yeah,
like the
old guys rule.
Old guys rule. Whatever.
My dad has
like,
a lot of
this
those
is your place. Like you go fishing.
Yeah.
It's a little more swanky, but like great restaurants here as well. And yeah, it looks like a really, really cool, fun place that I would go with your dad and we could just
One day when we're older.
I don't think he's like the biggest Disney fan, but like I could entice him with Yacht Club.
Maybe so. If we all just like win the lottery, we'll for sure do that. Okay, next we're talking about Beach Club Resort, which is very similar to the Yacht Club. They both share the Stormalong Bay water park, so they must be just like neighboring resorts, I guess.
Yeah.
It is the closest resort to Epcot, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Must be
Easier to get to your room
even
after
more
drinking
walkable.
around the
Yeah, exactly. That's enticing. And they have a really nice beach that you can relax at as well, which sounds really like a good way to end the day.
Yeah.
After, drinking around the world, I could go relax on the beach.
Oh yeah.
Sounds nice.
I just picturing someone just passed out on the beach. This is great. This is why I paid $1,000.
Hey, if you're gonna be dealing with the after effects of drinking around the world, a nice relaxing beach sounds like a good place to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. So last up on our list, and like I said before, there are some villas and some other properties that Disney World has to offer that just aren't on this list. But the last one that we want to talk about here really quickly, because it's the newest and because it's the weirdest, not weirdest, but
most expensive for sure.
Yeah. So we got the Star Wars Galactic Cruiser, and so you guys have heard about this. You heard about it a lot when it was about to open, and it was opening, and then
now you hear
everyone,
nothing.
yeah, no one really talks about it anymore. Crazy, but this is almost like a cruise in a way. You could only do 2 nights here, no more, no less.
Crazy.
It's about $5,000-ish for 2 people. That differs if you're getting, bigger rooms or if you're bringing on, having a kid with you. That does fluctuate, but obviously it's going to be like right around that $5,000 mark. Now, the interesting thing here is that food is included. Just like a cruise ship, food is included here, and Hollywood Studios is included because you do go on an excursion to Batuu, and you could walk outside of Galaxy's Edge and explore the rest of Hollywood Studios as well. Now, this is an experience, right? Like you're going there to stay in a quote unquote hotel where you look outside your window and it looks like you're in space. There's also a lot of excursions on the ship if you want to fully be involved there. This is not the type of hotel that you're going to just come back at night and then wake up and then go to the park. This is like an experience that you want to do. Obviously, you've probably heard a lot about this, but we just had to add it to our list just because it is something new and different that Disney World is doing. I wish that we heard more buzz. Maybe this will alter over time. It was kind of sad that it gained so much buzz and then just kind of died off and we haven't heard anything about it. So maybe they're taking this as a learning experience and altering what they need to include, because I love this experience. Like if there was a Marvel one somewhere, you got to experience like, you know, I don't know how they do that. Like you're on a high rise and you look out and then like Iron Man comes up to you and does things and you feel like you're in danger some of the time. Like I don't know what that would be, but I feel like this could be a new wave of like future resorts. But this is kind of the sandbox. They're kind of testing things out right now. So that's another option if you're a big Star Wars fan and you're rich.
And you just want to go ball out at a Star Wars resort.
Yeah. So with that, though, we just want to thank you for joining us on this adventure of just talking about like the best of, obviously best, quote unquote, is very subjective.
Yeah.
These are what it's kind of a blend of what we have experienced, but also a blend of what other people have told us about in regards to snacks and bars and all that good stuff. Rides. Yeah. And so, but we just want to thank you so much for listening to this. As we head on into our next week, we're gonna obviously switch topics since we're ending this series. But we just want to say thank you so much. The support really means a lot. I know I say this at the end of every episode, but it really does. This is something fun that we just started when everything shut down, and the fact that there are people who listen just really just makes us happy.
It's so encouraging. Yeah, it's been such a like every week I'm just like I'm blown away when an episode comes out and we get so much support for each one. It's like it's so amazing to connect with so many people over Disney and to just come up with fun topics and chat about stuff. It's just been a blast. So thank you guys so much for supporting us.
Yeah, and if there's any topics that you would like us to cover, hit us up on Instagram or hit us up in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. But with that, we just want to thank you again, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye, guys. See you next week.